We are starting with the third part of the chapter, that is Introduction to Pharmacognosy, that is organized drug, unorganized drug. We'll be going into the classification of unorganized drug, that is dried latex, dried juices, extracts, gums, mucilage, oleoresins and oleogum resins. So all these terminologies we are going to cover very elaboratively in today's lecture. So what is the basic difference between an organized drug and unorganized drug? So what is an organized drug? Organized drug is nothing but the drug which is obtained from the direct part of the plant material which contains the cellular tissue. For example, say the specific part of the plant material, it can be rhizome, it can be bark, it can be leaves, it can be fruit, it can be entire plant, it can be hair, it can be seed. So if we are taking the entire part of the plant material or the specific morphological part of the plant material, then it is called as organized drug. Now, those drugs which are prepared from the plants by some intermediate physical processes like incision, drying, extraction with specific solvent and not containing any cellular plant tissue, then it is called as an unorganized drug. So if we are able to take not the morphological part of the plant, but we are taking the plant material and we are carrying out some processes like extraction, incision, and which is not the actual cellular content of the plant, then it becomes the unorganized drug. For example, say you are taking what you can call it as collecting juice from aloe leaf, latex from opium poppy, then agar from the seaweeds, gelatin from the different organs of the animal, tragacanth by making an incision on the trunk of the tree as gum, benzoin, honey from the honeycomb, then beeswax, lemongrass oil by the method of distillation. So these are all the examples of unorganized drugs. So there are so many examples of unorganized drug, and over here I'm giving some additional examples. For example, say beeswax, spermaceti-wax, carnauba-wax. They are all coming from what you can call it as waxes. Spermaceti-wax and beeswax, it is coming from animal origin. Carnauba-wax, it is coming from the plant origin. Second example is the gums like guar gum, tragacanth, sterculi, acacia. These are the gums which are coming from the plant origin. Resins, these are amorphous product. Example is hing or asafoetida, benzoin, colophony, copaiba, guaiacum, gugul, mastic, coal tar, tolu balsam, storax, sandrax. These are again all the unorganized drugs, and these are all resin containing drugs. And there is a long list of unorganized drugs coming from what you can call it as origin. We have got anise oil, coriander oil, peppermint oil, turpentine oil, clove, dill, caraway, eucalyptus is nilgiri, nutmeg is jaifal, and camphor. Now all these are the volatile oil coming from the plant origin. They are all volatile in nature. That means they evaporate even at the room temperature. And mostly they are all prepared by the method of distillation. They are all unorganized drugs. Then we have got drugs containing lipids. Lipids are triacylglycerides of higher fatty acids, and usually they come under the classes of fixed oils and fats. So fixed oils, examples are arachiz oil, that is what you can call it as the peanut oil, castor oil, which is a very good laxative, chal mogra oil, which is used in treatment of leprosy, coconut oil, cottonseed oil, linseed oil, olive oil, which is a very good nutrient. Sesame oil is the til oil, almond oil is badam ka tel, theobroma coca, that is a fat, cod liver oil, halibut liver oil. Now cod liver oil and halibut liver oil, these are the oils coming from the animal origin, and kokum butter, it is a fat. So over here, these are some of the additional examples of unorganized drugs coming from the lipids. So if lipids, they are liquid at room temperature, then they are called as the fixed oil. If lipids, they are semi-solid at room temperature, then they are called as fats. Then we have got some animal products coming from the animal origin. Classical example is the cod liver oil, beeswax, gelatin, halibut liver oil, honey, shark liver oil, spermaceti wax, shellac, and wool fat. In addition to it, there are some unorganized drugs coming from the mineral origin and fossil organism. Example is bentonite, kaolin, kiselgar, talc, and so on. So what is the primary difference between organized drug and unorganized drug. So organized drug, they are all coming from the plant origin. Unorganized drug, they can come from natural origin, they can come from plant origin, animal origin, mineral origin. So organized drugs, these are the specific or the direct part of the plant material. Unorganized drugs, these are the products of the plant or animal origin. So organized drug, since we are more concerned with the morphological characteristics of the drug, they are going to have a well-defined cellular structure. So very well-defined cellular structure can be identified in case of organized drug, whereas in case of unorganized drug, they do not have well-defined cellular structure. They are acellular in nature. So they are going to have a, what you can call it as no defined cellular structure in comparison to that of the organized drug. So organized drug, they are identified by their morphological characteristics, and I'm able to identify different morphological characteristics. For example, say leaf, bark, seed, fruit, rhizome. So by knowing the shape of the bark or by knowing the shape of the leaf, I'm able to identify an organized drug. Generally, unorganized drugs, they are identified by their organoleptic characteristics, their color, odor, taste. So these are some of the organoleptic properties. Organized drugs, these are usually solid in nature. You take leaf, bark, seed, fruit, rhizome, they are all solid in nature. Whereas unorganized drugs, they can be solid in nature, semi-solid in nature, liquid in nature. Example is balsams, oils, and gums. So organized drugs, example, there are a lot of drugs, digitalis leaf, vasaka leaf, tulsi leaf, cinchona bark, ephedra stem, these are all organized drugs. Whereas agar, gelatin, honey, these are all unorganized drugs. So unorganized drugs, they can come from plant origin, they can also come from the animal origin. In case of organized drugs, botanical or zoological terminology can be used to describe these drugs. Whereas in case of unorganized drugs, such terminology is inadequate to describe them. But there are some physical characteristics which are applicable to unorganized drugs. For example, say some physical constants like solubility in various organic solvents. For example, say water, alcohol, chloroform, carbon disulfide. Then density, optical rotation, refractive index, whichever is applicable. So it depends upon the nature of unorganized drug, the specific physical constants will be applicable. In case of organized drugs, microscopic characters are one of the most important criteria for identifying organized drugs. The reason is, in case of organized drugs, you are taking the specific part of the plant material. For example, say leaf. So the leaf, it is going to have specific microscopic characters when you are identifying under the microscope. So all the histological characters of the leaf, for example, say in case of leaf, we are able to see the epidermis, which is covered with cuticle, followed by palisade cells, followed by the spongy parenchyma. So the arrangement of the tissues, histological arrangement of the tissues or the cells, they are very well defined in case of organized drugs. So the first layer is cuticle with epidermis, followed by mesophyll. Mesophyll, it is comprising of palisade cells and spongy parenchyma. And the central core portion is the vascular bundle, which contains xylem and phloem. So histological arrangement of the plant material, that is the leaf, it can be very well seen under the microscope. Similarly, the microscopic characters of other morphological parts of the plant like root, bark, seed, fruit, flower, it can be easily seen and you can identify the specific morphological part of the plant material. That is the reason microscopic characters are very, very important in case of organized drugs. Whereas in case of unorganized drugs, you will have to perform specific chemical tests and some physical standards which can be used as confirmatory tests to identify unorganized drugs.